Oh no, the boom boom is gonna go bang bang now. Bye. After World War II, the German firearms manufacturer Heckler & Koch was established in 1949 by three former Mauser engineers, Edward Heckler, Theodor Koch, and Alex Seidel, Seidel being the shy one. H and K initially produced simple firearms such as hunting rifles, but they soon began to develop more advanced firearms such as submachine guns, assault rifles, and handguns. During the Cold War, H&K became a major supplier of firearms to military and law enforcement agencies around the world. In the 1980s, H&K began to sell firearms to the U.S. military, including the MP5, the G3 assault rifle, and the USP handgun. The MP5 was initially acquired by the U.S. military for use by special operations units such as the Navy SEALs and Delta Force, but it eventually found its way into the hands of other military units as well. It says that H&K in the U.S. market was partly due to their willingness to adapt their design to the specific needs of us customers. For example, they developed a version of the MP5, the MP5K, with a shorter barrel and a more compact design for use in close quarters combat. One of them, the MP5N, developed specifically for use by U.S. Navy SEALs. The MP5N incorporates features tailored to special operations. These include an ambidextrous three-position Navy trigger group, a tritium front night sight, a threaded barrel for a night's armament suppressor, and a retractable stock with a rubber butt pad. The trigger group aids in firing from either shoulder, while the rubber butt pad helps maintain a cheek weld when firing on full auto. The MP5N is frequently utilized by base SRTs and MARSOC, the USMC's most common users of the weapon. In addition to being suitable for clandestine missions, SEALs find that suppressed weapons are well suited for maritime anti-terrorism missions on ships or oil platforms. A USMC SRT training for building clearing operations typically involves a shield man armed with a pistol and a cover man armed with an MP5. Firearms expert Jonathan Ferguson's favorite gun, the MP5. Half-Life was actually the very first known video game featuring the MP5. 125 TV series, 242 movies. From 1970 to the present day, the Heckler & Koch MP5 is ever present. Perhaps the best-known presence in film is its role in Die Hard, but you might be surprised to hear that was no MP5. What appear to be MP5A3 SMGs in films of the 1980s and 1990s like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Speed, and Air Force One are actually chopped and converted HK-94 carbines. Effenherstal is 100% owned by the Walloon government, which is the regional government of Wallonia, the French-speaking southern part of Belgium. This is possible because, unlike many other countries, Belgium has a federal system with a high degree of regional autonomy, and the regions are allowed to own and manage companies. This system allows regions to promote their economic development by investing in businesses that create jobs and generate revenues. The ownership of companies by regional governments is not very common, but it is not unheard of either. In some countries, such as Norway, the government owns large stakes in many companies through its sovereign wealth fund. In other cases, regional governments own or co-own companies in strategic sectors, such as energy or transportation. However, the extent of the ownership and the reasons behind it vary greatly from country to country. In the U.S., there are no direct analogs to regional government ownership of companies, but there are some similarities. For example, many U.S. states have pension funds that invest in private companies, and some states have state-owned banks. However, these are not direct forms of ownership and management, and they are subject to different regulations and oversight than regional government-owned companies in Belgium. Curiosity killed the cat. Playing with this thing is like that. So keep your fingers far away and make it through another day. The Belgian arms company FN Herstal has faced controversies and ethical concerns regarding its arms sales to the Middle East. Human rights groups have criticized Wallonia, the region where FN Herstal is based, for being insufficiently critical about the issuance of export licenses, given the importance of the arms industry to the struggling local economy. Despite FN Herstal's refusal to answer questions about its sales or the conflict of interest concerning its ownership by Wallonia, the region's leaders claim they have to balance domestic economic interests with human rights concerns. Wallonia has over 30 arms companies, employing about 7,600 people directly and indirectly, with FN Herstal being the largest. It has a global workforce of 2,400, with manufacturing operations in the US, UK, Portugal, Finland, and Japan. The debate over whether Wallonia is too lenient in relation to gun exports has exposed bitter Flemish, Walloon fault lines. Flemish lawmakers and activist groups have suggested that Wallonia prioritizes contracts over ethical concerns, while Walloons argue that they are an easy target because they make more traditional small arms. The political maelstrom over Belgium's arms exports exploded in 2002 when the country was split over whether to send a large consignment of FN to Nepal. The government survived a no-comment vote, but a senior minister, Magda Alvoet, resigned. Despite decrees in 2012 aimed at making weapons export licensing more accountable, researchers suggest that Wallonia's licensing mechanism is still insufficiently accountable, and that the practice has, while admitting that 23% of cases in 2013 were sensitive, Wallonia refused only 3 and granted 1,348 export licenses. In 2012, it granted 1,361 and rejected 10. Critics argue that Wallonia takes an economic approach to the issue, while Flanders often takes a broader ethical overview. 3 facts about the FN-57. The pistol was originally designed as a companion firearm to the P-90 submachine gun, which was a cartridge. The idea was that soldiers could carry both weapons and share ammunition between them, making logistics simpler in the field. In 2004, a member of the U.S. Secret Service accidentally fired a pistol while on duty at the White House. The bullet struck a building across the street, and no one was injured. The incident prompted the Secret Service to temporarily suspend the use of the firearm. The FN-57 is known for its ability to penetrate bodies. In 2013, the French government banned the sale to civilians after the weapon was used in several high-profile crimes. What do you get if you put an HK-MR 223, an AK-47, and an M1 Garand in a room? A heated debate about which rifle is the best, followed by the HK-MR 223. At least it doesn't have to share its name with a street drug or a cleaning product. Research shows a 22% surge in gun homicides in states that passed permitless carry laws, with violent crimes involving firearms spiking up to 29%. However, California lawmakers recently signed a gun safety law package, making it easier for Californians to sue manufacturers of illegal assault weapons and those spreading them. Additionally, California launched an 18-month campaign promoting gun violence restraining orders, referred to as red flag laws. This allows family, friends, co-workers, or law enforcement to petition a court to temporarily remove weapons from individuals deemed dangerous to themselves or others. The Violence Prevention Research Program at the University of California, Davis, found that California's red flag law had prevented 58 mass shootings since 2016. As a result of these measures, California was named the state for gun safety in 2021 by the Giffords Law Center, with a 37% lower gun death rate than the national average.
This is your friendly neighborhood threat speaking.
Just a quick reminder that if you're hearing this tape, it means you failed to meet our minimum requirements for firearm safety. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. But seriously, we can't have you accidentally shooting yourself or others while playing with your shiny new toys. So, please, for the love of all that is holy, read the instruction manual and practice proper gun handling before continuing. Your life and ours may depend on it. Thanks for choosing Mindkill. Thanks for choosing Mindkill. The HK-MR 223 is the civilian variant of the HK-416. The American market knows it as the MR 556. The rifle has a gas-operated, short-stroke piston system, which was originally developed for the H&K G36. Essential parts of the civilian rifles are not interchangeable with the HK-416 to avoid conversion into fully automatic. The HK-416 is a standard rifle of the Norwegian Armed Forces and is replacing the FAMAs in France. It is famously known as the gun that killed Osama bin Laden. In its home country of Germany, it was decided in 2015 to phase out the G36. After only Heckler & Koch and CG Hyena remained in the race for the replacement, Heckler & Koch got rid of their competitor by claiming patent infringement and illegitimate arrangement with the procurement office. 118,000 of the rifle were ordered with the plan of introducing it in 2026 under the designation G95A1. Benelli Arms is a shotgun company with a rich history and a knack for innovation. Founded in the late 1960s by the Benelli family, the company started out making hunting rifles in a small workshop in the Italian countryside. Legend has it that the Benelli family's passion for hunting was the driving force behind the company's founding. In fact, one of the founding members, Giovanni Benelli, was said to have been so obsessed with hunting that he would sometimes fall asleep with his rifle in his arms. As the company grew, the Benellis set their sights on creating a shotgun that was both reliable and easy to handle. They started experimenting with different designs and materials and eventually hit upon a breakthrough. The first ever inertia-driven shotgun. The design was a game changer, allowing for smoother, faster, and more accurate shooting. Benelli Arms quickly became known for their innovative approach to shotgun design, and their inertia-driven system remains a hallmark of their products to this day. In fact, one of the company's most famous moments came when a team of engineers decided to test the limits of their inertia-driven system. They loaded a shotgun with a massive 1,000-grain bullet and fired, expecting the gun to jam or fail, but to their amazement, the gun cycled flawlessly. I like my brains inside my head, not scattered on the wall like lead. So when I'm feeling down and blue, I'll put the piece away, it's true. The Benelli M3 Super 90, a shotgun that can please both the semi-automatic and pump-action purists. It's like the Switzerland of shotguns, except instead of cheese and chocolate, it's delivering bullets at high speed. Benelli Army SPA is an Italian company that used to produce motorcycles before making shotguns, starting in 1967. Oh, I don't know about you, but to me, that's like finding out that Ferrari is now producing toaster ovens. But hey, whatever floats their boat. What's important is that they've been making some of the most innovative and reliable shotguns out there since the 80s. And the M3 Super 90 is a prime example of that innovation. It's got this crazy floating bolt featuring a rotating bolt head that locks onto the gun's barrel extension. It's like a high-speed dance move, only instead of a dance partner, it's locking onto a barrel. When you fire, the recoil sends the gun, meaning barrel, receiver, and stock as one unit, backward, while the heavy bolt tries to remain at rest. But it's no match for the spring within the bolt body that compresses and rebounds, pushing the bolt head forward, unlocking its bite on the barrel extension, and subsequently succumbing to the rearward momentum of recoil. Shotguns for home defense? What are you, a cowboy? Unless you're planning to take down a charging buffalo, a pistol is way more practical in close combat situations. Let's be honest. Shotguns are bulky, difficult to maneuver, and can cause more damage than hand in a confined space. But hey, if you really want to stick to a big stick in your grip, might I suggest a Louisville Slugger instead? Not only is it a more practical choice for home defense, but you can also use it to play a game of baseball with the intruder after you've whacked them into submission. I mean, let's be real. It does feel pretty cool to pump a shotgun and hear that satisfying sound. And if you really want to go all out, you can always add some spikes to your bat to make it look extra intimidating. Just make sure to leave the cowboy hat at home. Soyuz TM, the creator of the STM-9 carbine, has been involved in various international arms exhibitions, but most of their fame stems from the gun being featured in a famous video game from the same country. In fact, if you search for the STM-9 name, you will find no public encyclopedia entry for the real iron, but instead that game's wiki. Due to its futuristic, one might even think that it is a fictional gun. However, it is real. It's all real. Made by the Russian company based in St. Petersburg. which for whatever reason chose ASU country code top-level domain, probably for the lulz. Or as Ivan might put it, Glaiakaifa. The Soyuz TM-9 carbine works with magazines made for Glock pistols with 9x19mm parabellum rounds. All other parts, the manufacturer claims, are of own design, development, or production. Previous weapons projects were marketed as replacements for imported guns to fill the gap left open by sanctions on Russia's sport shooting market. By now, with even more sanctions imposed in recent years, there might be more gaps left to fill. You think you're tough because you bought a gun? That's cute. That faced killer had to take down entire armies. I've fired rifles so advanced they make yours look like a child's toy. But you know what? It's not about being tough. It's about being smart. Knowing how to use your weapons safely and responsibly. Because let me tell you, the consequences of mishandling a weapon are no joke. So, if you want to play with guns and rifles, go ahead. Just remember that with great power comes great responsibility. Glock 9mm magazines come in various sizes and capacities, including 6, 10, 12, 15, 17, 19, 24, 31, and 33 rounds, with even more variation aftermarket. 5 different generations of Glock models and the respective magazines lead to some incompatibility as well. For example, you will need at least 4th generation mags in a 5th generation pistol if you flip the magazine release. Also, 1st generation magazines appear to have inconsistencies in 5th generation guns, at least when it comes to holding back the slide. And as one would expect, a smaller mag does not fit in a larger capacity handgun model. And the bigger is better in size, doesn't matter think of weight. A large magazine certainly has its advantages,